The evening sky glowed with soft shades of orange and lavender as the city slowly settled into a peaceful rhythm. A gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers through the quiet streets, creating the perfect atmosphere for a memorable evening. Barış Arduç glanced at the elegant watch on his wrist before smiling to himself. It had been a busy week filled with filming, meetings, and long hours on set. Tonight, however, everything else could wait. He had planned something simple yet unforgettable. A few moments later, Elçin Sangu arrived at the entrance of a beautiful garden cafe. She wore a graceful navy blue dress that reflected the colors of the evening sky. Her warm smile brightened the surroundings as soon as she stepped forward. "It's nice to finally have an evening without any rush," Elçin said with a cheerful laugh. Barış nodded. "That's exactly why I wanted tonight to be different. No cameras, no schedules, just good conversations and beautiful memories." They found a table near the edge of the garden, so for several minutes, they simply enjoyed the calm atmosphere. "It feels like time has slowed down," Elçin said. "Maybe that's what we all need once in a while," Barış replied. Their conversation naturally drifted from work to travel, favorite books, childhood memories, and dreams for the future. They discovered how many simple things they both appreciated: peaceful mornings, long walks, handwritten notes, and evenings filled with music instead of noise. "I've always wanted to visit small coastal towns where life moves at a gentle pace," Elçin shared. Barış smiled. "I think those places remind people to enjoy the present instead of worrying about tomorrow." The waiter returned with dinner. After dinner, Barış stood and extended his hand. "Would you like to take a walk?" Elçin accepted with a smile. "I was hoping you'd ask." They walked slowly without feeling the need to hurry. A street musician nearby began playing a gentle melody on a violin. The music floated across the lake, blending perfectly with the peaceful evening. Barış paused for a moment. "That song reminds me that some memories stay with us forever." Elçin nodded. "The best memories are usually the simplest ones." They stopped near a wooden bridge decorated with flowers. From there, the city lights shimmered in the distance while the moon slowly rose above the trees. For a while, neither of them spoke. The quiet itself felt comfortable. Eventually, Elçin smiled. "If someone asked me to describe a perfect evening, I think it would look a lot like this." Barış laughed softly. "Then I guess the plan worked." As they continued walking, they noticed a small outdoor art exhibition beside the garden. Local artists had displayed paintings inspired by nature, friendship, and hope. One painting caught Elçin's attention. It showed two people sitting beneath a large tree, watching countless stars appear in the night sky. "I love this one," she said. "What do you like about it?" Barış asked. "It reminds me that happiness doesn't always come from extraordinary moments. Sometimes it's simply sharing time with someone who understands silence." Barış looked at the painting before quietly agreeing. "I couldn't have said it better." Before leaving the exhibition, the artist handed each of them a small postcard featuring the painting. "A little reminder that beautiful evenings deserve to be remembered," the artist said warmly. They thanked the artist and continued their walk. Soon they reached thousands of lights stretched across the horizon like sparkling jewels. "It's incredible," Elçin whispered. "It really is," Barış replied. A nearby cafe served freshly brewed coffee and homemade desserts. They ordered 2 cups of coffee along with slices of chocolate cake. As they enjoyed dessert, they began talking about goals beyond their careers. "I'd like to spend more time supporting creative projects for young artists," Elçin said. Barış smiled. "I've been thinking about something similar. Encouraging new talent always feels meaningful." The conversation lasted well into the evening. There was no pressure to impress each other. No distractions. Only genuine laughter, thoughtful conversations, and peaceful moments. Before leaving, they wrote short messages inside the postcards they had received earlier. Barış wrote. May every busy season be followed by evenings like this. Elçin smiled after reading it and added her own message. The best journeys begin with simple conversations and kind hearts. They exchanged postcards as keepsakes. As they walked back toward the entrance of the garden, the soft lights reflected across the peaceful lake one final time. Neither of them wanted to rush the evening's ending. Instead, they appreciated every remaining step, knowing that memorable nights are often built from ordinary moments shared with genuine kindness. As they reached the exit, Barış looked toward the quiet streets stretching ahead. I have one more surprise planned. Elçin raised an eyebrow with curiosity. Another one? He smiled. The night isn't over yet. With that, they stepped into the softly illuminated street, ready for the next unforgettable chapter of their dream date night. The quiet street stretched ahead beneath rows of glowing lanterns, giving the evening a calm and timeless feeling. Barış smiled as he led Elçin toward a beautifully restored vintage car waiting nearby. You planned all of this? Elçin asked with a surprised smile. I wanted the night to feel like a story, Barış replied as he opened the passenger door. One chapter at a time. They drove away from the city center, following a winding coastal road where the sea reflected the silver light of the moon. Gentle waves rolled toward the shore, creating a peaceful rhythm that matched the relaxed pace of the evening. After several minutes, they arrived at a quiet viewpoint overlooking the coastline. Small lanterns lined the walking path, while wooden benches faced the endless horizon. The cool sea breeze carried the fresh scent of salt and wildflowers. This place is beautiful, Elçin said softly. I discovered it a few months ago, Barış answered. I promised myself I'd return with someone who would appreciate its quiet beauty. They walked toward the edge of the viewpoint, where the stars seemed brighter than anywhere else. The city lights were now far behind them, leaving only the gentle sounds of nature. A local musician sat nearby, playing calm acoustic melodies that blended perfectly with the waves. I love evenings like this, Elçin said. No crowds. No noise. Just peaceful moments. Barış nodded. Sometimes silence says more than words. They continued along a narrow wooden path that led to a small lighthouse. Its gentle beam swept across the sea every few seconds, adding a magical touch to the night. Near the lighthouse stood an old telescope for visitors. Barış smiled. Would you like to look at the stars? Elçin stepped forward and carefully adjusted the telescope. I can see so many. The sky always reminds us how big the world is, Barış said. And how many adventures are still waiting, Elçin replied. For the next several minutes, they pointed out familiar constellations and admired the peaceful night sky. As they turned away from the telescope, they noticed a small cafe beside the lighthouse. Warm lights shone through its windows, and the aroma of freshly baked pastries drifted outside. Inside, the atmosphere felt welcoming and relaxed. Wooden shelves were filled with books, handmade decorations, and photographs of the surrounding coastline through the seasons. An elderly cafe owner greeted them with a friendly smile. Welcome. Please make yourselves comfortable. They ordered warm tea and fresh pastries before choosing a table beside the window. The owner noticed their interest in the old photographs. Every picture tells a story, he said. Some visitors return years later just to remember one peaceful evening. Elçin smiled. I understand that feeling already. After enjoying their refreshments, the owner handed them a guestbook filled with messages from travelers around the world. Everyone leaves one thought before they go. Barış picked up the pen first. He wrote, May kindness always guide every journey. Elçin added her message beneath his. The simplest evenings often become the brightest memories. The owner thanked them warmly. I'm sure you'll both remember tonight for a very long time. They stepped outside once again. The breeze had become slightly cooler, but the night remained wonderfully calm. Barış noticed a gentle walking trail leading toward a flower garden overlooking the sea. There's one last place I'd like to show you. They followed the path together. The garden was illuminated by tiny lanterns hidden among colorful flowers. Wooden arches covered with climbing roses created peaceful walkways beneath the moonlight. At the center of the garden stood a circular fountain surrounded by blooming lavender. The gentle sound of flowing water filled the air. Elçin slowly walked around the fountain. It feels like we've stepped into another world. That's exactly what I hoped, Barış replied. Nearby, a small wooden table held sketchbooks and colored pencils for visitors. A handwritten sign read, "Draw or write something that made you smile today." Elçin picked up a pencil. "I'm not much of an artist." "You don't have to be," Barış laughed. "It's about the memory." She sketched a simple lighthouse beside the sea. Barış drew a small bench beneath a star-filled sky. Neither drawing was perfect, but both made them laugh. "It's amazing how simple things can bring so much happiness," Elçin said. "They're often the moments we remember most." A few minutes later, they heard soft music coming from the far end of the garden. A small group of local musicians had gathered for an informal evening performance. They played gentle acoustic songs that encouraged visitors to slow down and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere. Several families, couples, and friends quietly listened together. Without saying a word, Barış and Elçin found two empty chairs and enjoyed the music. The melodies seemed perfectly suited to the evening. When the final song ended, everyone applauded warmly. The musicians thanked the audience before wishing everyone a wonderful night. As they prepared to leave the garden, Barış noticed a nearby path leading toward the beach. The waves sparkled beneath the moonlight. "One final walk?" he asked. Elçin smiled. "I don't think this evening could end any better." They removed their shoes and slowly walked along the cool sand as gentle waves reached the shore. The beach was peaceful. The only sounds were the sea, the breeze, and their quiet conversation. They talked about future travels, favorite places they hoped to visit someday, and the importance of making time for the people who matter most. Neither of them realized how quickly the hours had passed. Eventually, the first hint of dawn appeared on the distant horizon. Soft shades of blue and gold slowly replaced the darkness. Elçin looked toward the rising sun. "I never expected our evening to become a sunrise." Barış smiled. "Maybe the best nights are the ones that quietly become beautiful mornings." Together they watched the sunrise paint the sky with warm colors, knowing that this dream date night had become a memory they would always treasure. As the golden light spread across the sea, a new day quietly began, bringing with it the promise of many more unforgettable adventures still waiting to be written.